So hi everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, which is an introduction to our new grantee portal and our online application process. We're glad that you can join us. For those of you unfamiliar with the Zoom webinar platform, you can enter your questions in the Q&A box that's at the bottom of the screen. We don't have the chat feature turned on, but any questions, like I mentioned, can go in the Q&A section. If you do need closed captions, you can turn those on as well using the CC button at the bottom of the screen. This webinar is also being recorded and will be posted on our website and YouTube channel after today's session, so you'll be able to access it anytime. So as mentioned, please feel free to add any questions in the Q&A section as we go through the presentation and demonstration. Before we start, we'll do some quick introductions. For those of you that haven't met me, my name is Sasha Benz, and I'm the Grant Program Manager with the Pacific Salmon Commission. I oversee 4 programs here at the PSC, which are the Southern and the Northern Funds, and the Mark Selective Fishery Fund, and the Yukon River Pounder Restoration and Enhancement Fund. I'm joined today by Grace Willig, who's the Client Success Manager with Temelio, which is the name of our new grantee portal. Grace and the Temelio team have been instrumental in building our new portal together. Together, we'll guide you through everything you need to know today. We're also joined by the PSC's IT Manager, John Sun, who is assisting us with the webinar today, and Victor Kyung, their Grant Program Assistant, who'll be looking at the questions as they come in as well. We're going to walk you through the changes, show you how the new system works, and answer your questions at the end. So here's what we'll cover today. We'll start with why we created the portal and implemented the change. Then we'll take you through a tour of the portal itself and walk through how to complete and submit an application. We'll also go over the available support and resources for you. And finally, we'll wrap up with a Q&A session. As I mentioned, feel free to type your questions into the Q&A box at any time. So let's start with why we made this change and added a grantee portal. So we wanted a system that grantees could go to in order to access all their grant and application history. In the past, we'd received requests from previously submitted reports from grantees and questions from new staff at organizations that had received funding from us about their grant history. We wanted something that was user-friendly, transparent, and efficient. So we took that feedback and we researched a few different systems, and we picked the one that we think meets both our needs here at the PSC, as well as your needs. So whether or not you're a new applicant or have worked with us for years, we really hope that this new system works for everyone. The portal also has a dashboard that's easy to navigate and has a streamlined application process. You can save draft applications as you go, and you can also receive real-time updates on your application and the grant status. So whether or not that's been in the draft stage or it's been submitted, if it's in review, or if it's been completed. We also wanted some increased support for grantees. So you can now message our team or the Temelio team directly through the system, as well as a regular email. So let's take a look inside the grantee portal. I'm going to hand it over to Grace now to lead this section as we go through a live demonstration. We're going to show you how to log in, where to find the key features, and how to navigate the platform confidently.
Great.
So with that, over to you, Grace.
Thank you, Sasha. Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be providing an overview of the Temelio system for you all to best understand how to utilize it as efficiently as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And when you navigate to the Pacific Salmon Commission website, there is, you'll go to the proper application that you're looking for, and there will be a link called Submission Form. When you click on this, you'll be taken to a page which essentially shows a preview of the form that you're going to complete related to this. You can preview the fields here. However, you won't actually be able to fill them out yet because first you'll need to complete an organization profile, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So when you click on this link, you will be sent to a page that looks like this that Sasha just previewed. to actually get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create so we can walk through this together. On Temelio.com, Grace, and create a password. And hit create account. You will be taken to choose an entity type. You'll be registering as an entity, as it will be for the organization that you're representing. So I'm going to hit an entity. And what you'll first do is type in the entity legal name. So I'm going to do example organization, just for the sake of this example, and create entity. Then you will be guided to actually complete the form itself. There will also be a section when you start that is essentially an onboarding page. So there will be different fields to complete, such as the organization name, and then there's a list of fields, but they're not required. The only ones that are required are the organization name, as well as any team members that you want to add. You will also be able to add team members later on in the process. So you can disregard all of the fields related to this. This is just part of our Temelio onboarding process. Again, the only fields that are required are the organization name and 1 or 2 team members. I'm going to stop sharing this screen and share another one so that once you log in, I'll be able to show you what the actual profile looks like once you've created the field. So bear with me just one moment. And this is our dashboard. So once you go through that onboarding process and set up the organization information, you'll be taken to this landing page, or we call it our dashboard. So here you can see a variety of different information. This dashboard is really just a summary of information in other parts. So we have tabs over here where you can click into more detail on each of these. But on the dashboard, you can see any total awarded amount. These are all sample, by the way. I just pre-populated some information in here. So this is total awarded amount that you can see over the course of time in Temelio, any upcoming reports that are due and what the report is, and then this section takes you to the settings page. Here you could click to see more information. So for example, if I wanted to see what this total awarded amount was made up of, I could hit see payments and it will scroll down to the payments section where I can see the name of the grant or application that I filled out, what foundation it's associated with, that'll be Pacific Salmon Commission, the grant awarded amount, and then we can see these 2 awarded amounts are made up of, the total is made up of 2 different payments. One is for $50,000 and another is for $50,000. Here we can see when the payment date is due and the grant start date. One thing is if there are any linked contingencies. So one thing that may be applicable here is if you have reports that are due in the future, the payment won't be able to go out until that report is completed. So here you could click on it and say, great, the linked contingency here is a final report that's due, it's due in the future. If I scroll back up, the same goes for next report. I could click this and it would take me to the report. And that will also be here on the left-hand side, and I'll cover that in a moment. So I will go back. Again, right here are any upcoming or completed proposals or applications that you have or will be completing. Our applications do auto-save, and you can also collaborate with other team members. So if there is an application that you're working on, it will show, if it's uncompleted, you'll see this button here and you'll know that it's not complete yet. And the same goes for final reports that are coming up to be due. To go a little bit further into each of these proposals and tasks, we have 2 tabs on the left-hand side. The first I'll go into is tasks, and this is where we can see any that are open or outstanding. And then we can also click on completed. So those are ones that have been completed in the past, so you have a historical record of what you've said. So if I wanted to actually see what I filled out, I can click on the report name, and it will show me that this is completed, no further actions needed, but I can see when it was submitted, the deadline of it, any information around it, and then I can see the fields. So I filled this out in advance of this session so I could show an example. So I went through and just put some sample text in here and you can see it. The other part is in open, so any upcoming, if I click on this, I can see it's due not for over a year in advance or a year into the future, but I can preview all of the fields. So you could fill this out in advance, but it won't be due until that actual due date. And then the other piece I wanted to call out is this comment section. So if you have any questions about any fields or about the report itself or the grant in general, you can always use this comment section, and this will go to the team at Pacific Salmon Commission. So you can leave that here, hit add comment, and the Pacific Salmon Commission team will get a notification that you've left a comment that they can respond to. Proposals is very similar in the sense where you can see the name of the grant or the proposal name here and click on it to actually see. This is a completed one. So again, no, it is no longer editable. It's already been completed and submitted, but I can scroll down and again, see what I filled out. And sometimes there are multiple pages or whatnot. There's also, we have some file down or upload fields that may be applicable in some of your grant forms that you will find here. So you can see what you uploaded, but you can also find that in the documents section. So if I click on document section, this is a folder for that proposal we just reviewed. I can click the drop down and see this was the file that I had uploaded there. So you can always reference of the budget that I uploaded or whatever the information or requested information was. You can see that here. A couple other things to call out, and I will go back to our dashboard, is we have a get help button. So up here in the right-hand corner, this little wheel, you can click on this, and this is a chat that is directly with our team. So we monitor this chat Monday through Friday, approximately 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time. Hours range variably based on when our team members are working, but if you ever have a question or you're running into an issue, you can contact us here. We also have a support email that I believe Sasha is including in the slideshow. So it's support@trytemelio.com. Those are both great ways to get a hold of our team. And the last piece is, if we go down here to these three buttons, we can hit, let me get rid of this. I want this go away. There we go. These three buttons, we can go to our help center, which is a step-by-step guide of different demos and walkthroughs. So if you ever forget how to access something or need to remember how to fill out a form, you can click on one of these and it is a step-by-step guide and walkthrough. So that's where you access that, which is down here again on those three little dots and help center. And then the last piece is our settings. So if I click the settings, there are two primary tabs that we'll focus on here. This is general, and this is all the profile information that I was telling you about when you set up the organization profile. So it could be the entity legal name, description, mission, website, and there are a variety of different fields. Again, the only ones that are required are the entity legal name. So you don't need to fill any of this out. It's only if you want to for your reference. Team members, this is where you would add additional teams. So right now we only have one in here for this example, but we do the name, the title of this individual, their email. If they're a primary contact, signatory I don't believe is applicable for this use case, and then any specific financial contact. To add additional team members or edit, you do that over here on the right-hand side. To add a team member, you click this button, and this is where you can enter name, email address, title, their role. Users have the ability to view system information. Admins have the ability to actually edit. So if you wanted to collaborate with a team member to fill out an application or a proposal, you'd want to make that individual an admin so they have the ability to edit it as well. And I believe that is all we have. Sasha, I'll turn it back over to you unless there was anything else you wanted me to cover or hit on.
That's great. I think you covered it all. Thanks very much, Grace. I see we've got a couple of questions in the chat, in the Q&A section, but we'll get to those at the end. So do please keep them coming and we'll address them all at the end. So now I'm going to walk through how to complete and submit an application. You can find the direct links to the application form for each fund on our website. And today I'm going to walk through two different applications. First, I'll go through a Southern Fund concept application, which is really similar to the Northern Fund application process. And then I'll also go through an application for the Mark Selective Fishery Fund, which is similar to the Yukon River Panel application process and the Stage 2 application process for the Southern and Northern Fund if you are invited to a Stage 2. So I'm just going to share my screen again. Just one moment. There we go. So as Grace showed, the application form is available on the website and clicking through the submission form. So I've already clicked this form and have opened it in Temelio, and it's brought up, and I've logged in, and it's brought up the Southern Fund Concept Application Form for 2026. So I'm just going to click Start Form to start filling it in. So as you can see, that kind of takes you into the portal, and you're now working on the application form. As we look at the form, we've got a few different buttons at the top here. We've got a preview proposal. You can download it as a PDF, you can download it as a Word, and you can hit Save Proposal. This AI assistant, it won't work for 2026, but for 2027, it will work. It will pre-populate some information based on 2026 applications if you're applying again in 2027. So if you wanted to download the application as a Word document and go away and work off it and then type in the information later, you can definitely do that. So you're just going to do that by clicking download as Word and then save it to your computer and work on it as in your free time as like. But as mentioned, the application does update as you save. So I'm just going to populate some information on this. So let's call the project test for webinar and go through the questions as they are. So lead proponent, that's going to be my test account. The lead organization will be auto-populated from the organization that you are logged into. But if you are applying on behalf of a different organization, you can just change it here. Email address should be the email address of the contact for the project. And you'll see the red asterisks are the required information. So phone number is not required. I'm going to leave that blank. And then other proponents and organizations. This should be any other proponents or organizations that are directly involved in the project with your co-applicants. We don't need a list of all partners and funding partners at this point. For the Southern Fund, you've got different priority areas to choose from. So I'm going to say for this one, this is a habitat project. We'll ask you which currency you're applying in because we do have both US and Canadian applicants. You can select either of these. I'm going to say Canadian for this example, and then it will pop down with how much you're going to be requesting in Canadian dollars. So I'm just going to say $50,000 for this project. Project location should be where the project work is going to be taking place. I'm just going to say PSC offices for this. Again, you can scroll down and complete the questions as you go. It does auto save, but if you like to just, ensure that it is saving, even though it is, you can also hit the save button too, and a green message will pop up and says it has been updated. If you want to go ahead and see what other questions are coming, this is see what's you need to prepare for, you can scroll through to the next and see all the questions that are coming for the Southern Fund proposal. So you've got the overview, the stock, conservation, bilateral fishery relevance, and the fishery benefits, and the context. So for this proposal, I'm just going to put some dummy text in here. Let's just say test for webinar text. We'll do it for the stock. Let's see, do this one here. And I think, okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and submit it. So this is going to ask you if you want to confirm your submission. So sure, I think I'm ready to go. But what's good is the system will pop up and say, actually, you've got a few required fields that still need to be completed before you submit it. So I've missed quite a few. So I'm going to close this. And again, I'm going to go back and see what I've missed. Okay, there's a few more red asterisks. So has this project been funded previously by the Southern Fund? Let's say no for this example. No, we're not going to have any future funding. And click no instead. And for this project, I'm not going to be seeking any funding from the Northern Fund. For the start date, there is some guidance here on what start date to put. So it should be after March 1st, 2026, just that's when our timing is for these proposals. So let's click on the calendar and we'll go to 2026. Let's say we're going to start at the 1st of April, because that's when our fiscal year starts and that's when the project is going to start. And then for the end date for this Southern Fund concept, usually a project duration is typically 12 to 18 months. For Southern Fund, it is necessary to reapply for funding each year. So this end date should be the end date of this specific part of the project. So we started April 1st, 2026. We'll do, let's say it's a full fiscal year. We'll do March 31st, 2020. Oops, we're going to do 2027. And then click next. Okay, so I think I've submitted everything. I'm going to confirm again. And oh, it's telling me that there's still a few fields that need to fill in. So I'm going to just populate some blank dummy text in here because it's telling me this field is required. And same for these highlighted red boxes as well. Now, as mentioned, you can preview the application and hit the save button at any time. Get that green pop-up there. And then I'm just going to make sure I finish this for one. And as Grace mentioned, at any time, if you have any questions for us at the PSC, you can type in this comment box on the right here, or you can email us as well. So at the bottom, we've got some additional instructions, say, please preview your concept prior to submission, and some just instructions on the page limit. So the page limit for the Southern Fund and the Northern Fund, the concept, not including the descriptive text, is 3 pages. And the short answers do count as 1 page and the long answers as 2 pages. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and preview the application. And you can see here that it's 1 of 3 pages, which is good. If it does go over to about 4 pages, that's okay. Just keep in mind that this text that is showing here, descriptive, doesn't count as the page limit. So it may end up being a little bit over. But don't worry about that too much. We'll contact you if there's any issues or any edits are needed to the application before you submit it. Now I'm ready to submit this application. I'm going to click the Submit Response button and confirm it right here. And it's thinking about submitting, and there we go. So the proposal was submitted. We got some fun confetti on the screen and a grantee satisfaction survey popped up. This is optional for you to fill in, but we do use the feedback to build the system better and for everyone. So if you do want to fill it in, please go ahead and do that. But again, it's not mandatory. You can just X out of it. So now you can see that the project title has been saved, test for webinar, and the proposal is no longer editable. If you do want to make any edits, you can again message us here in the chat box on the right, or you can send us an email and we can send you back the proposal for those edits. Okay, so that's the Southern Fund application. Now I'm going to move on to the Mark Selective Fund application. So again, the links for the application form are on our website. I've clicked this link and that has taken me to the application form for the Mark Selective Fisheries Fund. Again, this is similar to the Yukon River Panel Fund application and the stage 2 submission process for the Northern and Southern Fund. So again, we're going to click Start the Form. And it's a similar screen that you saw before. I'm just going to call this a Mark Selective Fund test for webinar and fill in all the information as needed. That is requested. So for the Mark Selective Fund, the project start dates are a little bit different. We've got some guidance here. For this application, it should be between November 1st, 2025 and October 31st, 2026. So let's say this one is January 1st, 2026. And the project end date. For the Mark Selective Fund, we do take multi-year applications for that. So that could be up to 3 years. For this one, I'm just going to say it's a 2-year project. So let's do to the end of 2027, December 31st. This one, I'm going to request US dollars. say $100,000. And again, you can click through to the following questions at any time. I'm going to say this is not a new project. This is a new project and go from there. So for this application, you do have the choice to complete the form online, like demonstrated previously, or we can download an offline form. So I'm going to show for this one both processes just quickly. So let's say, okay, I want to download this offline and work on it with a few people. So I'm going to click the offline form button, and it's going to show me the offline application form. I'm just going to click it to download it. This form is also available on the PSC website for the Mark Selective Fund, so you can get it there, or you can get it through the application form as well. So I've worked on it offline. I'm ready to update it. Just log back into the system and go through the proposal and click next. So because I've selected an offline application, I do need to drag and drop the file here. That's a required field. I'm just going to find the file I've got for display. So you can see that the offline application body of proposal document has been completed and uploaded there. Again, you click next. You can see the project budget needs to be downloaded and completed. Again, you can download that, fill it in offline, and then upload it in the budget section here when it is complete and ready. So for this one, I'm going to drag and drop it. Oops, not letting me select a specific file. Let me just try a different one. Oops, for some reason it's not letting me try that file type. We will try a different one. 1 second. This is good for me to know that the specific file type is not working because I can update it after the presentation. Let's find another form to update. Okay, so we've uploaded the file correctly. If there's any letters of support needed, you can drag and drop those files there. Justification of indirect costs as well. Again, we can preview the application, got all the information there, the project start date, end date, and it shows that you've attached a few files. If you filled it in online, this would look very similar to what I showed for the Southern Fund application form. So everything looks good and I'm ready to submit it. Again, it's going to ask me, are you sure you want to submit? So I'm just going to hit confirm. And I've filled in all the required fields. So again, the proposal has now been submitted, pops up with the grantee satisfaction survey. Now, just going back to the dashboard, it will show you that you've got these two submissions have been completed, and it will show you the stage that they are in. So this Mark Selective Fund shows you that it has been submitted, and for the Southern Fund, it shows you the concept has been submitted. As it moves through the proposal stages, so for the Southern Fund, when it's into concept review, which Victor and I will be reviewing and then giving to the Southern Fund Committee for review, it will move to the concept review stage. And that's similar for the Northern Fund. And then for the Mark Selective Fund and the Yukon River Panel application process, it will move to submitted review stage. And then once you are either awarded or declined funding, it will show you that as well. So that wraps up the presentation for the live demo. I'm just going to put the PowerPoint slide back on the screen so we can go over the support and resources available to you. 1 second. Okay, so there are several resources to help you along the way. As I've shown and Grace has shown, there is an online help center and chat feature which you can access anytime when you're logged into the system. We also have a list of FAQs available on our website that are about all of our funding programs, and that's under the funding opportunities page on our website. You can contact us at the PSC via email or phone with the details that are shown here on the screen. And we should be your first point of contact. Victor and I are here to help you and assist you. We're just a voice at the end of the phone line, or happy to set up video calls as well, and happy to help you as you need support. If you do need additional support, as Grace mentioned, the Temelio team is also available through their email and their chat as well. We'll also be posting this webinar on our website, as mentioned, and the YouTube channel, which you can watch again at any time. And as mentioned, we can also arrange one-on-one support throughout the application process. Just reach out and let us know. We are here to help you as you go through this. It's a pretty big change for us for this program, so we really want people to feel confident in using the system and help you through it as needed. Okay, so thanks for following along. Now we'd really love to hear from you. So if you haven't already, please enter your question and answers questions into the box. And we'll start first with a few common questions that we often receive, and then we'll take some of the questions that are in the Q&A section. So starting with how do I know if I have an account set up? Please reach out to us at the PSC if you are unsure, and we can also check to see if we've got you in the system. You might have received an email invitation from us. If you've deleted or didn't receive it, just let us know and we'll resend that email invitation, and you can set up with your email address and register with a password. And can I submit more than one application through the system? Absolutely. You just need to start a new application form each time. This is with all of the programs, you can submit more than one for each program. There's no restrictions on how many times you can apply. And can I invite a colleague to work on an application with me? Again, yes, as Grace mentioned, you can add them as a team member. And so they'll be able to see the application that you are working on. And I see we've got a few questions added here. So got a question here from Dawn. Thanks, Dawn. Will there be a list of existing entities when registering? That's a great question. You won't be able to see the list of existing entities, but we will have access to that and anyone that's received funding before. So if you're unsure, just reach out to us and we can see what you've been set up with or if there's one existing or not. If you create a duplicate, don't worry, we can clean that up. We see if entities are created as they happen, we get an email notification as well. So if you're unsure, don't worry too much. You're not going to break anything. We can fix anything too. I see Gizem's got a question about clarify if there's a Canadian qualified donee legal status code. Gizem, thanks for that. That's just it's not a required field. So our recommendation when you're registering in the system is just to complete the required fields that are marked with the red asterisks. A lot of the other fields aren't necessary for us here at the PSC. So you don't need to populate that information. But again, if you're unsure, just reach out to us and we can help you through that application process. This one we've got, can you print a copy of the application once it is submitted? Yeah, absolutely. Again, you can either print directly from the website, I guess, Grace, or you can download the PDF or a Word document too. Grace, did you have any other tips on that one?
No, I'm just happy to show.
Yeah, I'll stop sharing. 1
Yeah, I
second.
can
Yeah.
just show how to do that and demo that capability really quickly. Let me just share here. So it was once the application is submitted. So if I go into the proposals section in your profile, you can click on it and view. and you will see there are a couple options. You can view it as a PDF, you can download it as a PDF, or download it as a Word document. So that's where you can do that.
And all of that information will be available live for you to log in at any time to access to. Here's another one, Grace, I might need you to help me with, is are there export reports? So this organization has 12 different entities or 12 different offices. They may want to download a summary of all the reports.
Yeah, so if I'm understanding correctly, it would be pretty much the same capability. We could come over here into tasks, and again, we can go into open, so any upcoming. So we could click on the actual task, and here we can preview the PDF or Word download. So if we hit preview, there will be a download option here. So you could download it there, or the same is true for any completed reports as well. So we can click on it, and we can see there is the option to PDF preview, download, or download it directly as a Word document. So, yep, you can do for both.
Yeah, it looks like it is only individually. But I did want to address this one as well. So on our website, we do publish all the reports, and that still exists too. So once they come into the Temelio system, we will still upload them onto the PSC website. So if you want to filter them through that for the Southern Fund, Northern Fund, Mark Selective Fund, or the Yukon River Panel, there is a way to filter that on our public website too. So you can do that way. It just won't be the financial statement. It will just be the actual project report too. And then got another question here. Are there character limits? We haven't set any character limits for the questions. For the Northern and Southern Fund concept application, there are recommended lengths of the answers for the concept. And there are page limits for those. We couldn't unfortunately set a word count or a paragraph count. So a recommendation is to just preview the application, make sure it fits within the page limits. Like I mentioned, if it goes over a little bit, don't worry too much about it. The descriptive text doesn't count as your overall application. For the Yukon River Panel, there isn't a page limit for the application, so you don't need to worry about that there. And I think that might be all the questions. I've got another one here, is do the payment amounts support different currencies and USD and Canadian dollars? So we do have access to that information here on our end at the PSC. Generally, the payments will be associated with the country that you are in. But if you have any questions on that, you can let us know about that. And I think that covers all of the questions. And if that's everything, I'm just going to wrap up a few things. So as mentioned, the portal is now live. Applications can be started for any of our programs at any time, and the support is available for you. We've got the upcoming deadlines for each program displaying on the screen. The first one coming up for the Mark Selective Fisheries Fund is Friday, August 1st. And then Southern Fund is August 20th, the Northern Fund, August 28th, and then the Yukon River Panel R&E Fund, November 3rd. Make sure you start your applications in advance of the deadline in case you run into any issues. The great thing about the new system is we can see on our end at the PSC once you've started an application. So if it's coming up close to the deadline, you might get an email from Victor and I saying, hey, we've seen you start an application. Just remember it's coming up. You will also get reminders automatically from the Temelio system saying the deadline's approaching. So you'll get that too. And then as mentioned, we'll share today's recording and the slides afterwards, along with the links to any key resources that are needed. So again, thank you all for joining us, and we really look forward to receiving your applications. So good luck with your applications, and you can contact us at email at any time. Really appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.